tequileros! Welcome to Dia de los Muertos. Are you ready to learn a little bit of how it was to experience this unique festivity living in Mexico City in the 90s? Welcome to the Tequila Princess channel. Hello! If you are new, my name is Ro, and I am a tequila lover and a Mexican promoter. And today I will be talking about Dia de Muertos. But not only Dia de Muertos in general, we're gonna be talking about how it was to live Dia de Muertos growing up in the 90s in Mexico City. And to help me give you a picture of how it was like, I have a friend with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Rome. My name is Daniel, and my friends call me Wendy. So everybody on your channel can call me Wendy. Hello, everybody.
Okay, so we both went to junior high together. That's how we met. And that's why I'm pretty sure that we had a sort of similar experience with the Day of the Dead. When you live in a big city like Mexico City and you are in a country that is neighbor with US, you have a very weird combination of tradition with American influence. Our Day of the Dead is not the same as in the small towns because we have a lot of Halloween influence in our way of celebrating. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. And actually, for my family, we celebrate both days. Actually, it's 3 days we celebrate. One from Halloween and two for Day of the Dead.
Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Did your family used to actually set an altar? And how big it was? How did you set it? What you put in there? I want to know everything.
Okay, for our family, making an altar, it's a must. It's not optional. Like I told you before, we celebrate both celebration. However, the most important celebration for the family in the year, it's Dia de Muertos. So we have a very special place next to the dining table where we put another table for our dead people. We usually prepare like food they used to enjoy when they were living. We have a pan de muerto. It cannot be missing on the altar.
Do you
Our
mean
oh
like
my god,
this?
yeah, that's what I mean.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things, seasonal things to eat. So yeah, pan de
My personal
muerto
favorite.
cannot
Yeah,
cannot be missing.
yeah, that's my personal favorite bread. Yeah, and we usually have for drinking water. It's important to have water, tequila,
Yes,
and
of course.
the favorite beverage for our beloved departed people. Also, we have Flor de Cempasúchil. Actually, for us, it means they have a way to arrive to our altar. Also, it is important to have candles to light the souls and they can find a way to the table. Otherwise, they cannot dine with us. Another important thing we set it's the favorite music.
Oh, that's a nice
We
touch.
usually have that day during the day. Yeah, we play their favorite music.
Did you knew that the not official but like the most traditional way of making an altar it's supposed to be 7 floors?
Somewhere during my childhood, I am sure I hear about it. However, in the practice, we never said it.
I honestly
Yeah,
didn't know until a few years back when I was studying to become a certified tour guide. And they were explaining that the seven, yeah, let's say
the seven
levels,
steps they have for the author.
it's
Hmm.
because it represents the 7 stages that the Aztecs thought there were to reach Mictlan, which was the Aztec heaven.
Yeah,
So each one of the levels on the altar represented each one of the stages. And also, all of the things that you place on the altar are supposed to be in certain levels because of that. I didn't know and I don't remember exactly how it was, but if we reach 50 likes in this video, I will probably make another one explaining all the levels of the altar. I will do my homework and explain it to you guys.
that would be amazing because that's information. Honestly, I didn't remember from my childhood. It's a very good history. I remember the story one of my teacher used to tell us about the road to the Mictlan, that it was not like in other cultures that it was on one day. It was supposed to be 4 years.
They didn't go into detail in that, so I'd never learned about that before. So it was like, what? 7 levels and each of them have a meaning? In my house, we usually have a very tiny, very small, kind of symbolic altar at home. So we only have like a small base with the flowers, the cempasúchil, and maybe one or two candles, one glass of water, and only sometimes we have like the food, but not always. Pan de muerto is always there for sure, but like dishes
That's a must.
or something special, usually not. Although we do like it, and we usually reserve a time of that night to make a prayer for our loved ones. But I also think that's because we didn't have many people to place on the altar when I was little.
Oh, I
It
see.
it was only my grandmother on my mother's side.
Yeah, and I think most of the Mexican people has a similar altar for their departed people, because the other friends I have, when I visit them during these holidays, they have like small altars. Sometimes they say because they don't have enough space, or sometimes because they don't have enough time. Because living in Mexico during these last
Hectic.
years,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
crazy. You don't have a time for anything.
And I also think that's because we were in a city. Because I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that's
if
right.
you went to a home in the 90s, but I don't know, a small town in Puebla or maybe Guanajuato or something like that, I'm pretty sure they had a bigger altar. But in
Yeah,
the
I
city,
bet
it's
they do.
kind of like important to keep the tradition, but not the highlight, but it's there.
Yeah, and also I think back in the 90s, it was most important for our families than it is now.
Yes, yes, definitely. And also, I think we had a very unique opportunity back in the 90s because it was much safer, and we actually had the opportunity to go trick or treating without adults, without the grown ups
Yeah,
checking that we were safe. I don't know if it was your case, but it was with me. Like, my group of friends was so big that it was just like 15 or 17 kids walking around asking for candy, and it was like, they will be fine. It's no big deal.
that was very good times, because I remember in my neighborhood, everyone knocking the doors of every neighbor. Hey, brother, are you going to hang with us? Yes, yes, yes. Just wait a minute. Or sometimes a kid will say like, "I don't have any custom. Oh, don't worry. I can borrow you something, and we can make anything for you." So it was good times, and I
Yeah.
remember going in the afternoon, like 5 p.m., and getting back home like at 10 p.m., and having a bag full of candies, and I was the
Yes.
most happier kid in the world when that happened.
Yeah. And back then, you didn't have to worry about kidnappers or, you know, cars going crazy and running over kids because it was other times. Even in a big city like Mexico City, the 90s were still safe for kids to
It,
be out on their own, which
yeah, I
is
have to agree. It was
something that I will
much safer than
always
now.
cherish. Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask you, which one do you remember was your best disguise?
This is a very good question, because I have very fond memories of every year going out. But if I have to choose just one, maybe when I was like 10 years old, if I recall right, I was dressed like El Charro Negro,
Ah.
one of the not so popular disguises on Dia de Muertos, because everyone wants to be Catherine, or something like that. I remember I was like standing up from the crowd. Everyone that year was like Catherine or Chamuco, and I was the only one wearing a Charro Negro outfit. That year, specifically that year, I got the most candies than other years, and I was so happy about it.
And for me, it was a little bit different because all of my friends usually chose either not to wear a costume or things that were more American, like vampire and
Mm.
witch and like, like traditional Halloweeny costumes.
Yeah.
And the year that I was the Llorona was the best because my costume was like the most original. I had a cousin that had dance Veracruz dance at school. So she lent me
Mm.
the skirt because the skirt for the Veracruzana dance is like huge and super. It has many layers of white cloth, very, very light cloth.
Yeah.
So it really resembled like a ghostly, yeah, like a ghostly kind of dress. You could think that you were floating, especially at night. So I only wore the
Yeah.
skirt but tied on my shoulders instead of
Mm.
on the waist. And with this curly hair, it was the easiest thing to
It
look like
was
a crazy
perfect.
woman. I just had to go like crazy. So my mom made like dark circles with makeup, and my sister lent me her makeup because she has fair skin. So with in
Mm.
my skin was like pale, and I was like all made up with that, and then the dark circles. And I think they even were used like an eyeliner or something in water to make it look like I have cried. It was simple and it was genius. I loved it.
I also remember that back in the 90s, all the families were like using their minds, using pretty much imagination for having the best makeup for that celebrations. Not
Yeah.
like now that everybody wears masks or
Ah,
something like
yes,
that.
yes, yes.
This is something that I
And you
honestly
made
miss
your own
from.
costumes. You didn't buy them. You made them with
Yeah.
whatever you had, or you bought the fabric to actually make them yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remembering that it was like a competition, unofficial competition between the neighborhood to watch who was wearing the best outfit, the best costume
Yes.
for Dia de Muertos.
Have you ever gone trick or treating as a grown up? Not with your kids, because I know you have kids. Not going with your kids, but have you ever gone trick or treating on your own as a grown up?
No, never. I love to go with my kids because there's a fun to go with. So never had a chance for doing it though.
One year, I really, really wanted to go trick or treating, but I knew that as a grown up, nobody was going to give me candy. So I asked a friend of the family if I could lend her 5-year-old
Oh.
to go
I-
trick or treating with her. But we were a hit and we had so many candy because she disguised as a princess because she didn't like the ugly disguises. So she
yeah.
was a princess, and I disguised myself as a fairy godmother. So I had my wings
Oh.
and my wand. So I was her fairy godmother, and well, everybody just went crazy, even if they were not gonna, because I was her fairy godmother. They gave me candy too. It was a good trick.
I just have to try it by myself then.
Yeah, you can try.
Maybe this time that I'm old and bald and a little bit belly, I can disguise like a whistle and tell them, "Give me candies or I flood your home." I will tell you that Aguisotl was one of the most Mexica's feared beasts. The Aguisotl was like the pet from Tlaloc. What the Mexicas used to tell, it was the beast in charge of eating the humans that were unaware of the river. Remember that Mexico used to be a lake,
Yeah.
and we used to have like chinampas, and everything was on little boats. So people that was not pretty aware of what they were doing, they used to see like a little tail coming out from the water, and that was actually the tail of the Aguisotl that took them from the ankle, and they will drown up. He will start crying like a baby, just to lure the woman and eat
So
them.
the Ahuesotl was basically the
So
siren pet of Tlaloc.
yeah, it was the Slayer pet of Tlaloc.
Do you remember anything scary, creepy, or funny kind of story related with that day in particular?
Yes, but not when I was a kid, not when I was a child. Actually, my stories from Dia de Muertos are from
Okay.
recent years that I'm a grown up. As you recall, I was working for a certain Japanese airline company. I had to work Halloween and both Dia de Muertos, and
Okay.
I was with my best friend from there on the flight dispatch section, and we were doing our job on the computer, and we were talking about Dia de Muertos, how we are going to celebrate after work. And while we were having this chat, having this talk, someone somewhere throw us one of the airplanes we had, like, hey, you shut up. It was like someone was throwing us things on purpose. The scary thing was that we were a lander, so it was like, what the? Yeah, and we just get seeing each other, and if you say nothing, I will say nothing. So
Okay,
we
let's say
pretend
nothing.
not
That did not
having been
happen.
hit by a, yeah, by a toy airplane, and we kept working. That was
Okay.
on the first day of Dia de Muertos on November 1st. So it was like, okay, we can live with it. And the second day, we were the same with my same friend. However, it was another Japanese co-worker. She was like having the dinner next to us, and the same thing happened to her. And she was like, "What the?" And she ran out of the office. That day, she was not coming back to the office. She was like not willing to get back.
I don't even know how old I was, probably 3 or 4 years old. And we went to the graveyard to clean the tomb of a cousin that I had that she died very, very young at the age of 2. So we were there on the 1st of November, which is when in Mexico we
We
honor
celebrated.
the children dead. So we were there to clean the grave, and I don't know if it was something that my siblings told me. Most likely it was, but I was terrified of the idea of a, well, in that time I thought a dead person, but probably a zombie, pulling my leg under, like trying to pull me inside of the grave. I was terrified of that particularly. And the grave that we were gonna be cleaning, it was in like the row before the last one and almost at the end of the graveyard. Why not? Of course. and and right at the entrance there was a pile of water, and you had to get it with buckets. So they forgot to get the water, and they thought it was a great idea to tell the youngest to go get the water while they were cleaning and, like getting pulling the weed and stuff
Yeah.
around the grave. I was so scared of that particularly that I had the very irrespectful but brilliant idea of jumping on top of the tombs so that they couldn't reach my feet. And I was going from tomb to tomb, jumping, heading to the front of the graveyard so that I could get the water. Point is that at some point I jumped in one of the tombs and I went down. Like my feet just sank through, and I was like,
Oh,
you have
so
no
your biggest.
idea how scared I was. I ran out of the graveyard screaming like a crazy. And since then, until I reached like 12, probably, you never made me go into a graveyard again, like ever. I was terrified. With the time, I thought that it was probably like a fresh tomb. So, like the ground was like loose or something.
Yeah.
So I just sank. Obviously, it was not a dead person pulling me, but it was enough for me not to enter a graveyard in over 10 years. I was terrified.
And I finally have to say it's pretty difficult to explain what Dia de Muertos is. So for me, the best way I can explain it is live it. Do not talk about it. Just leave it. Come to Mexico and watch it by yourself. See by yourself what our traditions are. We own dead like a part of our daily life. We love
Yes.
the dead. We are not afraid of finding our beloved ones once again. We are not afraid of dying. We actually live with the dead on a daily basis. Part of it's part of Mexican culture since the Mexicas, since the
Yes.
Olmecas, all our ancestors. I think no one around the world has this colorful celebration surrounding the dead. To me, more than explaining, I think it's more than live it.
The Day of the Dead is a date where you can allow yourself to remember the ones that have already lost their lives with love, with joy. Remember the good times, the silly times, even the everyday times, and feel closer to them. It's like an opportunity for you not to grieve, celebrate their life in a very ironical Day of the Dead. For me, it's one of
Yeah,
my favorite celebrations. Everybody sees it as something related with death, but we Mexicans know that it's more about life.
it's a big irony because every Dia de Muertos we are reminded that we came to the life just to meet the dead. So you have one life and you have to live it. You have to enjoy it because this will not last forever.
I want you guys over there on the other side of this screen to think about the people that you love. And this November the 2nd, light a candle and dedicate it to the life of the people that you loved and is no longer alive. Don't do the whole altar, just light a candle and dedicate it. And of course, give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to click on the bell to get notifications so that you can be the first one to watch and the first one to comment and the first one to like.
Okay, guys, thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like the video, share it, please, with everyone so everyone can know what the Dia de Muertos means for Mexican people and you can enjoy it too. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the patience and especially thank you for hearing me because my voice is awful.
Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you next time. Tequila Princess and Wendy out. Bye!